I'm gonna show you how to make chow mein noodles like Panda Express, and I'm gonna use spaghetti noodles. But I've got a little hack that will transform these into ramen noodles. So let's get cooking. We're gonna start by bringing some water to a boil. Once the water is rolling, add in some salt and our secret ingredient, baking soda. This will make the water more alkaline, which will give our spaghetti that distinct Asian noodle flavor and bouncy chew. This is actually a little trick that some Japanese housewives do when they need ramen noodles in a pinch. If this is your first time seeing this hack, then let me know by writing spaghetti secrets in the comments below. Let it boil to al dente. My package says it takes about 7 minutes, so when they're done, drain them. Rinse them well under cold water and let them sit for about a minute to completely cool down. Then drain them and toss them with some sesame oil, and then wrap it up. Now we're gonna prepare the base sauce of this dish, and it's called brown sauce. I know that sounds vague and slightly disgusting, but this is what Panda Express calls their all-purpose sauce. Now, nobody really knows exactly what goes into that sauce, but we're gonna make something pretty darn close. First, we're gonna mince up the whites of a green onion, a few cloves of garlic, I'm saving half of this to cook later, and some ginger. To that, I'm adding soy sauce, sugar, cooking wine, sesame oil, chicken stock, and I'm using a powdered stock that's been reconstituted in warm water, and oyster sauce. Mix this together and voila, you have brown sauce. Now we're gonna need the vegetable component of this dish. I know Panda Express uses cabbage and celery and onions, but we're gonna mix this up and use whatever we have in the fridge. We already have some minced garlic from earlier, and we're also gonna need some carrot from the fattest carrot that I've ever seen in my life. Slice it at a diagonal like this, then cut it into thin matchsticks. Next, slice half an onion into thin strips, and finally, I'm using a red bell pepper cut into strips. Now feel free to add or omit any vegetables that you have on hand. And finally, we're gonna take the green parts of that green onion from earlier and we're gonna slice it. Now comes the fun part. I'm gonna cook my noodles in a wok, but you can do it in a large skillet if you don't have one. Add some oil, then add in the garlic. You're gonna let it cook for a few seconds until it becomes fragrant, and then you're gonna throw in all of your vegetables. Now, depending on the power of your burner, this may take minutes or it may take a few minutes. In my case, everything cooked up very fast, so then I added in my noodles. Now, you might need to add in a few tablespoons of water with your noodles if they dried out a bit, and this will help them to sort of be easier to work with in that wok. Now, you're gonna cook everything for a few minutes until the noodles have been heated up, and finally, we're gonna add in our brown sauce. Now, try to pour it around the noodles rather than just dumping it in the center. Stir everything together, making sure that the noodles get coated, and cook it for about another minute or so. Now at this point, you want to turn down the heat and taste the noodles and adjust the seasonings if you need to. I like to add in a little bit of toasted sesame seeds at this point just to give it some nuttiness and some crunch. And when you're done with that, you can go ahead and turn off the heat, plate the noodles, and then sprinkle on some of those green onions. So you may notice that there's a lot less noodles on this plate than you may have saw earlier. That's because I went to give it a little taste and I just couldn't stop eating it. This is really good. And man, it just brings back memories of being in the mall and eating Chinese food. It really is very, very nice. It has a really nice savory flavor and it has the right amount of sweetness. And that little hack that I showed you with these noodles, it really does have that flavor of Chinese noodles. If you like this video, then make sure to give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell for more delicious videos.